Hello! Welcome to another episode of Bloodhouse, the show where we talk about art house horror films. I'm your host, Joshua Conkle.
And I'm your co-hostess with the mostest, Drusilla Adeline. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing this week, Josh?
I'm good, but I feel like you're probably better. It's a momentous week in the lives of just your life, not mine. Drusilla has won a Golden Trailer Award for her poster for Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Congratulations.
Oh my god, thank you so much. I didn't think it was a big deal, but people keep mentioning it, so maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's a big deal.
I mean, it means a lot. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies was the first poster I did at my current agency, which is also the first poster I did for A24 and for any kind of big thing like that. I was just doing DVDs and Criterion stuff forever. I was never doing like big wide release films.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first one I did. It was the first one to be finished at an agency. It was the first one at my new agency. And not only did we do all of that, and I'm very proud of it, and the movie's very good, but also like it got nominated for an award, and now it won that award, and it beat Ted Lasso.
Haha!
Weird.
I hate Ted Lasso.
I
so
love
I'm
Ted Lasso.
So thrilled. I actually do like Ted Lasso. I feel like the more sentimental it becomes, the less funny it is, which is true of all sitcoms. I think it's true of like Schitt's Creek got too sentimental to be funny for me. I have been watching Abbott Elementary, which I feel like is too sweet and sentimental to be funny. I don't know. I'm just not.
I have also been watching
second season.
Abbott Elementary.
Second season was a lot worse.
And I think it's delightful, and I think it's very, very warm and fuzzy. But if you want Abbott Elementary, but you don't want it to be warm and fuzzy, you want it to just be a little more cantankerous, go watch AP Bio instead.
Oh, I've heard that. I'm watching Abbott Elementary, so I obviously like it.
Yeah, it's very good. I also love it. But every now and then I'm like, ooh, I think I'm getting a pain in my tooth. This is a little too sweet. And then you're like, oh, do I want the same thing, but the dude from It's Always Sunny screaming at high school kids? Okay, yeah, that's what I want.
I think Abbott Elementary gets in its own way with its sweetness. The only character who's really funny to me is Ava, the mean character. So I feel like if it were just a touch meaner, it would be funnier, but that's just my taste.
I think Ted Lasso was flawless. I think the second season was better than the first season and was funnier than the first season even.
I'm not disagree more. I thought the second season was a mess. I thought it felt insincere. And it just like really annoyed me with its treacliness. Especially that Christmas episode. I like threw my phone across the room. I hated it.
That Christmas episode is my favorite Christmas episode of any TV show to ever do a Christmas episode, and it is now on regular rotation. It's not meant. It doesn't do anything. It's just like, here, let's show you how all of our characters celebrate Christmas together. That's it. That's all it is. And it does
not
perfectly.
Stand it.
I strongly disagree. That show is delight and one of my favorites.
Listen, let's change the subject. we both saw things that we agree on.
Yes.
So let's talk about those. Where should we start?
Let's get away from fighting. Well, it's October. It's Halloween season. There's a big new Halloween movie out. Not called Halloween. But it's a different H word. It's Hellraiser.
Yeah. Yes.
Hellraiser's back. It's a Hulu original for some fucking reason. I don't know. But that means it's accessible, so that's points. Yep. And Doug Bradley has retired his collection of pins. And our beloved trans icon, Jamie Clayton, has picked up pearl-tipped pins to become the new pinhead, the priest.
Love the switch to pearl-tipped pins.
And it's not just on her, it's across the board. And it's incredible. When this movie was announced, everyone was like, oh my god, you're gonna let a cis-white hetero man direct Hellraiser. That's a problem. And I'm like, all the other ones were, except for the first one.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And then they announced Jamie as Pinhead, and I was like, well, I'm sold. That's going to be great. Like, that's perfect casting. That's a very good idea. Someone tweeted, A trans woman playing someone who takes pleasure in carving up their own flesh? Wow, what a stretch. Yeah, so I watched it on Friday when it dropped on Hulu. It's available now everywhere that you have Hulu, I guess. And I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I liked it okay. I liked it 3 stars worth. I
Yeah.
thought Jamie Clayton was incredible, fabulous, perfect casting. I really loved the lead, Odessa Ozion. Is that it? Zion? Yeah, I thought she was fabulous. Apparently, she's Pamela Adlon's daughter, so she's a nepotism baby, which is fine.
Which is, you know, Pamela Adlon's not that big, so it's whatever.
No, yeah. I loved her. I thought she was a great final girl. And I loved a lot of the look of it. I was cool with the like mythology changes to the box. I was kind of into. I just for me it kind of lacked some sophistication that I expect from Hellraiser.
Yeah.
It felt like a slasher movie a bit, derogatory. I like slasher movies, but I just like, you know, it just wasn't it.
Not even a little bit. Like, yeah, you were mentioning they changed the kind of lore to the laminate configuration. And they kind of set it up with like rules and a kill count and numbers. And you're like, well, we know someone's going to get killed next. And like,
we're getting a formula.
And I'm like, that's not Hellraiser, babes. That's sure. In addition to get it, but
yeah,
but it does some new stuff that I found delightful. For a little more than half of the movie, it becomes this like puzzly maze haunted house movie.
Yeah,
which was the best part of the new stuff for me. The Cenobites are still the best part of everything, and as the problem with every Hellraiser movie other than Hellbound, the second one, is not enough Cenobites.
I kind of agree with that, except that I love the first movie so much, which has very little of this.
Yeah, the first movie does the balance of like, we don't know what these are. We're gonna like keep them at bay a little bit until it all comes in. But after the first movie's out of the way, you have no excuse not to go full bore. Here's the Cenobites every single time, which is why Hellbound is my favorite. It's also like stupid beautiful. And I
also
was hoping this would
like,
be that, but I knew it wouldn't be.
Yeah. I also feel like what I love about the Hellraiser movies and why they were so special in the 80s compared to everything else that was happening in mainstream horror is that they are elitist. They are about sophisticated, rich 30s and 40s somethings who drink wine and are horny. And so to shift the focus to like 20 somethings, early 20 somethings, just made it feel a little bit ho-hum to me.
We get one character like that kind of feels like he's from the older films in that,
and
like,
his assistant.
Classist. Yeah, and his assistant. And like we get a little bit of that, and he might be the best actor in the film. I think he did a great job, and he's a character actor that I enjoy when he pops up on television and stuff like that. I love
her too. She's in Succession, and she's wonderful.
I've never seen it.
Oh, she's great.
But that was the closest to that. But again, like when you then set it from the perspective of like, here's 420 somethings that are figuring their lives out, you're like, a slasher.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not what it is. Because I feel like because of the era in which Hellraiser came out, it was released in 87, Hellbound came out in 88, and they're fronted by Pinhead. That was the whole marketing campaign, was like, you thought you knew Freddy, you thought you knew all these other big horror icons, here's this fucker with pins in his face, and he's gonna like chain you up and like get all the pain and pleasure out of you all at once. And so they were kind of marketed in the 80s alongside the slasher craze. And so I feel like part of the joy on Hellraiser was the bait and switch of you think you're going in for a slasher, but instead you're getting Hellraiser. The new one feels like the opposite. Like you feel like you're going in for Hellraiser and you're getting an 80s slasher.
Totally. And to be clear, I love teen slashers. But when I watched Hellraiser as a little kid, when you get Julia and Frank, who are these like super glamorous, British, rich sophisticated people, I lived for that because it was like sort of aspirational in a way. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to grow up and be Julia. And I just don't really get that from this. Although I loved Odessa. I loved her performance. I really liked that character, actually. So I don't know. It just felt a little unsophisticated for a Hellraiser movie.
It didn't strike... I mean, it reminded me more of Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, which is one of the worst Hellraiser movies.
Yeah. I love the CD Cenobite.
That's the one with where a DJ gets turned into a Cenobite for no fucking reason and just has CDs stuck out of his head because Harvey Weinstein was like, "What if CD Monster Man?"
Oh my God.
Yeah. The Hellraiser sequels are bad after this. It's weird because Hellraiser's great. Hellraiser 2 Hellbound is fucking incredible.
Really great.
And then everything else after it is just like dog shit. And so like the new one is the third best Hellraiser movie. So kudos, David Bruckner.
Yes. Yeah. And you know what? There's a lot that's cool about it. I mean, the locations are really cool. The aesthetic is really cool. They filmed it in Serbia, so it kind of reminds me of the first one in that way, because the first one is set in New York, but filmed in London, so it just feels really weird in terms of time and place. And so this had that going for it too. So there's a lot that's cool about it. It's definitely worth a watch.
The one thing that my friends and I said after we watched it, we were like, this kind of feels, from a filmmaking standpoint, similar to what they've been doing on Netflix with the like limited series runs of Haunting of Hill House and Midnight Mass. And we're kind of like, maybe it would have been better to do this take on Hellraiser that way, so that we could have gotten all of the like, here's the new characters, here's the new rules, all of that world building setup out of the way kind of early on, and then let the rest of it lead into Cenobite lore. And like, here's all the Cenobites and shit.
I hadn't followed the news very closely, and that's what I thought it was until you told me otherwise. I was like on my way to the theater practically thinking that I was seeing like the first episode of a series, and you're like, no, it's a movie. And it's like, oh, okay, interesting. Because I really thought that it was a series, I guess because of Hulu.
I think I would have preferred that we gotten that, because then we would have gotten more Cenobites and stuff. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe they'll make more films. I hope Jamie has a long future in horror ahead of her. I think she is an incredible talent.
Incredible.
If you haven't seen Sense8 or the revival of the L Word yet, you're missing the fuck out. She's the best. Yeah, I'm very, very pleased. So,
well, there's something that we both loved way more than that.
So much more, which the moment I got out of the theater, I was like, I should text Josh to see if he's seen this movie. And I checked Letterboxd. I'm like, nope, he saw it. We saw separately of each other, but probably at the exact same time, the latest and now second Palme d'Or winning feature from Ruben Östlund, Triangle of Sadness.
Oh, loved. Could not have loved it
Maybe
more.
one of the funniest movies of the year. Triangle of Sadness.
I love it. Yeah, it's a movie that is about rich people on a cruise that goes badly. It goes very badly. And if you are somebody who enjoys watching rich people be tortured, it is great. There's a performance by a Filipina actress named Dolly De Leon that I cannot stop thinking about.
It's incredible. Yeah, she's, as you would expect from a movie like this, very underutilized for the first half, just kind of like floating around in the background, and then takes over a very strong central performance at the final third of the film. It's incredible. It's reminded me a lot of kind of the anarchic spirit of both John Waters, but then also like the high art anarchic spirit of like Louis Buñuel and Pasolini.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's very funny. It's very acerbic. It's very mean.
I just loved it.
And there's the like crescendo of it. It builds very beautifully from very small, relatable scenes of like the way that rigid capitalism and heteronormativity and things like that like have fucking ruined. It's basically like late stage capitalism, the movie, and it starts from very small relatable scenes like paying a check at a fancy restaurant, and then it takes it to the most extreme thing, and then once all the dust has settled, it's like, cool, can we try to rebuild? Nope. Great. But the like kind of crescendo of it all is the middle of the film, set on this luxury yacht cruise liner thing, in which we have Woody Harrelson playing the very inebriated Marxist captain of the boat. And everyone is seasick and throwing up, and it reaches
worse.
This point where toilets are exploding, rich people are flailing around in their own waste, we'll say, for lack of a better word, to encompass, multiple kinds of fluids. And Woody Harrelson is drunkenly reading out Noam Chomsky over the intercom while we get New Noise by Refused, a Screamo track playing over it. It's
so good. It's going to be studied by film students for decades. It's like Das Boot or something like that. Like, it will be studied closely because it's so perfectly executed.
It reminded me a lot of like Buñuel's Exterminating Angel and Death in the Garden. And like Buñuel's Robinson Crusoe at the end too, a little bit. It's very, very funny. It's very, very well done. Seeing it with an audience at the Burbank AMC was a delight, because I was like, we'll see how this audience does with this art house movie, and then it gets fucking insane. And like, people were like jumping and screaming and freaking out during all of the cruise ship debacle. But then in the last portion of the movie, people were cheering. Like, people were like, some like lines were dropped and whole audience members were just like fucking cheering. And then one of the last lines of the movie was said, which is a very unfortunate line, said in a very unfortunate situation. And everyone just kind of went, boo.
Yeah.
It's great. It was very, very good.
I saw it at the Grove in West Hollywood, and it was packed. And at the end,
much more wealthy side of town.
Much more wealthy. If you're not an LA local, that's a wealthy part of town. And there was a woman in front of me with her boyfriend, and they could have been the main characters in the movie because she was a blonde woman in Lululemon. And at the end of the movie, I hear her say to him, like, what's the point of that? Just that rich people are bad? Like, come on. And it's like, yeah, bitch. Fuck you. Anyway, I loved it. I think to talk about Dolly De Leon for a second, the Filipina actress who walks away with the third part of the movie. This movie so cleverly uses your own racism and classism against you, because I'll speak for myself, and I'm not calling myself a racist, but everyone has implicit bias, right? So you're watching this movie about rich white people on a cruise, and you're not paying any attention to the help. And the movie does that really cleverly. She's in the whole movie, and you're not paying attention to her because you know that she's a cleaning lady. She's a Filipino woman in her probably 40s or 50s. And so you're just trained not to pay attention to her because that's what movies train you to do. And then suddenly she's the lead of the movie, and it's so clever, and it just works like a cudgel, and it's just perfect. And she's so good and just so perfect. And I can't stop thinking.
There's another character in the latter portion of the movie that they do the same thing with, where there's a question of whether he was a member of the cruise ship, whether he was a member of the staff and a member of the engine room, or if he was a separate invading party. And it's kind of left up for debate for a little while. And it's very much the movie being like, do you remember this guy? Do you remember this guy?
Exactly. The movie is like definitely testing white people in a way that's so delightful and it really incriminating. I felt trapped, but it's in a good way.
Outrageously fun, outrageously funny.
Loved it.
It's not getting enough like play, I don't think. Like, it got a lot of critical response at Cannes, and it, won the Palme d'Or, and like huge word of mouth from the like film community. But like, it opened this past weekend, and I tried to go see it, and the only theater near me. So I live in Glendale in California. There's a big AMC here. They weren't showing it. There's an art house chain throughout Los Angeles called the Lemley. They're not showing it. There's 3 separate AMCs in Burbank. 2 of them were not showing it. The only one that was showing it was the smallest one, which is located in the basement of a parking garage. And I was like,
Right.
what? Who the fuck is burying this movie? This movie's fucking incredible. Like,
It's incredible. It is long. It's 2.5 hours long. It is art house. It has been pretty divisive. Like, if you look through Letterboxd, there's a lot of people who really
there's people that I enjoy, and their reviews are very middling and being like, oh, this is so edgelordy. Oh, we get it. Shut up. Like, this is not as deep as you think it is. And I'm like, it's fucking not. If you think this movie is like incredibly, incredibly, incredibly like subtle and like nuanced past what it's like immediately doing to you, it kind of isn't that much. But what it's doing and the volume to which it's doing it at is incredible and is noteworthy and is fucking great. Like, I mean,
There's also
knocking this movie for doing everything it's doing, yet praising a movie like Parasite, which does all the exact same things in very similar ways, makes no fucking sense to me. They're very similar movies in the way that they discuss class and capitalism.
Yeah, I also think that it's hard to talk about class in the United States. And the truth is that there's a lot of people who resent talking about it or being confronted with it at all. And especially rich, white progressives who in all regards are progressive. When you try to talk about class specifically, you could watch it happen. They will try to make the conversation about something else immediately.
Yep.
Like sexism, race, whatever, because it's so, it just implicates you so much. And this movie does that directly. And I think it makes rich, white, progressive people specifically very uncomfortable, whether they'll admit it or not.
I think it's a delight. I enjoyed it a lot.
Loved it.
Go see it if you have the opportunity. And if you don't, search it out because it's fucking worth your time. Incredible. It should win Best Picture in my mind.
Me too.
It's the shit. It's great. It is the shit.
Love. It really is the shit. Anyway, speaking of another movie that we both love, it is the reason for the season, the reason we're here today. We are talking about Alice, Sweet Alice, directed by Alfred Sole.
Alice was too old to play with dolls and too young to make love. Brooke Shields, as you've never seen her before. She was too beautiful to play with boys and too young to play with men. So Alice began to play with death.
She's made repeated requests that the kid see a psychiatrist.
She has a knack of making things look like accidents.
It's dead! It's dead! They tried to kill me!
No more dolls, no more toys. Alice only plays with bodies.
Woo woo!
Love this movie.
Let's get a woot woot for Catholicism, baby.
Woo! I love this movie so much. It's a movie from 1976. I didn't mention the year. It's probably one of the first horror movies I ever saw in my life, because when I was a little boy in northern Florida, in the Panhandle, we moved from Kentucky to northern Florida, which is basically just Alabama or Georgia. And we had this babysitter named Miss Grace, who was really mean, a really severe woman. And so this must have been like, I don't know, 1985, 86, because my mom had rented the VHS tape of The Breakfast Club, which was new at the time, and sent that with us kids to Miss Grace's house to watch. And it, to be fair, it is a rated R movie with bad language. And Miss Grace found it offensive. And so instead of The Breakfast Club, she put in Alice, Sweet Alice and the movie Psychomania, which is like a British
biker zombie movie.
Biker horror movie. Yeah. And so for some reason, those weren't offensive to her. So as little kids, we sat around and watched Alice, Sweet Alice at this evangelical Christian babysitter's house.
I want to know. So wait, is this implying that she owned Alice, Sweet Alice?
Yes. Yes.
Wait, this evangelical Christian woman in the South actively owned a copy of it. What the...
It's so weird. We also watched Cujo there on a separate occasion. So these are the first horror movies that I ever saw, which were an evangelical Christian, really mean. I mean, she spanked us all the time for no reason and was just a crazy woman. Years later, I asked my mom why she sent us there, and she was like, "Oh, she was the cheapest babysitter, and I was a single mom."
Yeah. Do you think that she was like one of those people showed you horror movies to like get you in line and to scare you?
Probably.
Yeah.
She was a really mean woman. And she was, I think in retrospect, she was running like an illegal daycare center is the situation.
Oh.
And she literally, all the boys would have to be in the yard all day long and all the girls were inside separated from each other. And it's Florida, so it's like 100 degrees. And I always wanted to be inside with the girls, obviously. And I have a weird memory of her, just me and her being alone together for some reason on her porch and her telling me that when she was a little girl, the doctors cut out part of her brain. What? And like sort of describing a lobotomy. That can't be true. I mean, it must be like a dream I had or something. I can't imagine that this woman had a lobotomy. But
I mean, we have established before on the show that you've had many dreams of very fucked up things happening in your childhood that you've later found out were not actually real.
Right, exactly.
So, but that could be real. I mean, she sounds, to be some Phineas Gage shit.
Yeah. But later I had this on VHS as a teenager. It was weirdly enough, it was on a double feature tape that you could buy at like Target and places like that with Psychomania.
That must be how she had it then or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I bought it for like $2.99 in a bargain bin. So that must have been the same tape that she
They
had
are
10 years
both
earlier.
public domain.
Yeah.
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 And would later be released in America by Arrow Video.
Yes. The Arrow Video release, by the way, listener, is so beautiful. It's got a 2K restoration that's gorgeous. And that's how Drusilla and I both watched it for this. When did you first see this movie?
I didn't see it until the new Arrow release. I'd heard about it for years. It is kind of one of those, if you scratch the surface of 70s American horror movies enough, if you're interested in slasher movies or horror movies in general, you're gonna be met with Jason and Freddy and Michael Myers and all the dirge of slasher movies of the 80s. But then as soon as you get past that to like My Bloody Valentine and Happy Birthday to Me and Black Christmas, which are the only slasher movies that those are the ones that I like a lot. As soon as you get into that arena, everyone's like Alice, Sweet Alice.
Yeah.
And as someone who has a Catholicism thing, I'm not going to say the word kink, but kink. Fetishism is both a sexual thing and a non-sexual thing. And for me, with Catholicism, yes. So I was like, oh, a very, very Catholic proto-slasher that is also described as some people as being like very gialli influenced. And I was like, oh, I'll give that a shot. But it was very hard to find a version of the movie that didn't look like ass because it was public domain for so long. I mean, it still is public domain. And yeah, Arrow put it out, and I want to say 2018? What's this say? 2019, Arrow put it out, and with gorgeous new artwork. And I was like, you know what? I'll finally give this a chance. It's going to look great. It's going to be good. So I blind bought it based on the artwork and the reputation alone. And I was not fucking disappointed.
Yeah,
I thought it was a blast. It's I always describe it to people when I'm trying to pitch them on Alice, Sweet Alice of like, imagine if Moonstruck was a slasher film with a Catholic kink.
Yeah, totally. You mentioned that this feels like a giallo. A lot of people have said over the years that this is the closest American film to the gialli, which is interesting because the director Alfred Sole claims that he never saw any of the works of Dario Argento and didn't see any gialli movies. He says he was referencing Don't Look Now, the films of Alfred Hitchcock and Les Diaboliques.
Which is
his references.
The same, which, I mean, Don't Look Now, we've discussed before, is also viewed as like a non-Italian take on a giallo film from a very skewed perspective. But like Andre Georges Clouzot's Les Diaboliques and the works of Alfred Hitchcock were all the reference points for Mario Bava, Dario Argento, Lucio Fulci.
Yeah, I guess you're
Sergio
right.
Martino.
So he's kind of getting at the same place through the same references without realizing it.
Yeah, they're all dipping in the same well. It's part of the reason why De Palma gets a lot of the same reputation for stuff like Body Double and Dressed to Kill. De Palma, however, did absolutely see all of those Italian films.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, synopsis-wise, this movie is made in 1976, but it's set in 1961, so it's a period piece, which is interesting. It's like us making a movie set in the 2010s, basically. It's set in the Italian, very Catholic community in Paterson, New Jersey. There's a little girl named Karen who, at her confirmation at church, is murdered. And it kind of seems like she may have been killed by her jealous older sister, Alice, who's a very troubled young woman. And so, yeah, as the family gets closer to trying to figure out what happened to Karen, there are more murders. They all seem to be pointing at the older sister, Alice, and then there's a twist. So it really is a giallo. There's a character in a yellow raincoat with a clear mask that's terrifying. And yeah, it's a murder mystery set in the Italian Catholic community of Paterson, New Jersey, all centered around this young woman named Alice, who's the character is 12, the actress is 19, which is weird. Yeah, what am I missing? Anything?
No, I mean, that's generally the plot. It does sit very much within the family as they're mourning the death of their daughter who was killed at her first communion. Like,
yeah,
it sits in that for quite a while with a lot of tension because, again, we suspect it of being Alice for a long stretch of the movie. All of the marketing, the title would, of course, go along with that. But then, additionally, Alice is like, you know, the oldest child of a divorced household being raised by a single mother. So she is who now is dealing with the, like, death of her younger sister. So if you thought she wasn't getting enough attention before, now that everyone's mourning her younger sister, now she's really not getting enough attention, and is acting out constantly. And she's wearing her yellow raincoat around and, like, getting into little hijinks. And then a bunch of murders are also happening, which she tends to be around very, very closely. And her aunt fucking hates her and is terrified of her. And both her strange father returns to kind of investigate the death of his daughter. And both of the parents kind of handle Alice as if she killed Karen.
That's true.
We should also mention that Karen is played by a very, very young Brooke Shields.
Yes, this is the first film of Brooke Shields. This movie's history is very much tied to her because this movie was made in 1976 under the title Communion. And then when Brooke Shields became famous for being in Louis Malle's Pretty Baby, this movie was re-released, marketing heavily focused on Brooke Shields' presence. It was called Alice, Sweet Alice. And then again, later when The Blue Lagoon came out and Brooke Shields was in the public eye once again, it was retitled Holy Terror and re-released. So this movie is very heavily tied to the trajectory of Brooke Shields, even though she's the little girl who gets killed.
She's like 12 years old. The marketing around this movie post Blue Lagoon, when it was retitled Holy Terror, is actually really gross. Because they keep, like, there's like one photo of like contemporary 1983 Brooke Shields that they keep like flashing up on the screen and then fading it down to our killer in a mask running around, and then images of Alice, and it's kind of being like, you know, that sexy icon Brooke Shields, here she is, even younger and murdering. And it's like pitched as like kiddie porn in a way, and you're like, this is not what this is. Why would anyone want this? Oh god.
The Arrow release... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that the actress who plays Alice is Paula Shepherd, who does a great job in this film, and whose
Hmm.
only other feature film performance is in another incredible East Coast cult film, Liquid Sky.
Oh my gosh, I didn't put that together because I haven't seen Liquid Sky in ages. You're right. What a great career. I
What
mean, brief but great.
brief but incredible. Yes.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So Paula Shepherd was a student. Alfred Sole wasn't a filmmaker. He was actually an architect who restored old buildings around Paterson, New Jersey, and he just loved movies. And with his with his neighbor Rosemary, what is it? Rosemary Ritvo, who was a grad student getting her PhD in English, he created this movie. And it would cost $350,000, which he raised by putting a second mortgage on his home and emptying his life savings. And all of the actors, he wasn't connected to theater or anything. So he just started seeing plays and he just started casting that way. And so he found Paula Shepherd. She was a student at Connecticut College. He found people just by seeing plays, basically,
Mhm.
and asking them to be in this movie. So it really was a labor of love.
Alfred Sole had directed one film before Alice, Sweet Alice. He directed a hardcore porn film called Deep Sleep,
Oh,
which was his true directorial debut. Um, and it strongly informed the creation of Alice, Sweet Alice because it was heavily protested and banned by the Catholic Church. In fact,
interesting.
he put his name on the film, which a lot of porn directors do not. And he was a lapsed Catholic at the time, but the archdiocese found out that he had been a member of the church and excommunicated him for having made Deep Sleep, which actually was totally like a Deep Throat ripoff.
Yeah.
And he was kind of a pariah figure for a little while in response within the Catholic Church.
Mm.
So Alice Sweet Alice is very much a rebuttal to that. Like, not even subtly.
It's extremely critical of Catholicism. It had a lot of problems in countries like Ireland that are very Catholic,
Mhm.
getting distribution, and
It became a video nasty in the UK.
yes, it's a video nasty
specifically
in the UK, which is
for its
strange.
Catholicism, because it's not a grimy, gross. Specifically, when you think of video nasties, you think of like City of the Living Dead and like Evil
Yeah,
Dead 2 and stuff like that, which
totally.
the best.
This movie is like pretty classy compared to the video nasty. I mean, it's a classy movie. It's smart. It's very assured from essentially a first-time filmmaker. It looks beautiful,
Mhm.
and I mean everything about it is just it's well made. There is one scene that is so shocking and horrifying that it scarred me as a child, and it's one of the scariest scenes ever on film to me, and it's when Alice's horrible Aunt Annie is walking down the stairs and the killer attacks her from under the stairs. So they're stabbing at her feet and legs with a butcher knife.
Uh-huh.
And then she crawls out into the rain screaming with blood puddling in the rain. And it's so scary and so well made. I mean, you see the knife go into her foot and hear a thunk, like over and over and over again. Awful and so scary.
Super upsetting, because the performance that the woman gives is incredible. The way
good.
they shoot the attack is incredible. But on top of that, it's even more jarring because you don't expect that to happen. It's preempted right before that by the like landlord and neighbor of Alice's family is a very large, effeminate man who is kind of later revealed to be
Mr. Alfonso.
a bit of a pedophile.
Yeah.
And Alice is seen like trying to like get near him with a knife, and you're like, oh, it's Alice. Alice is coming to kill him, and that stopped. And then immediately after that, you get the scene at the stairs, and it's very shocking. It's very surprising. It's not expected, and it is deeply, deeply upsetting. And again, like, speaking of Alfred Hitchcock and Psycho, great kill scene on a staircase. Not surprised.
Yeah. You brought up Mr. Alfonso. He's really fascinating to me. It's one of my favorite elements of the movie, his performance. And I think part of why the movie stuck with me so much when I was a little kid is that he's the actor seems very queer.
Yes.
The character itself is coded as a pedophile, but the actor is very effeminate. He's like a very large man who sits around listening to opera music, and his apartment is full of cats to a deranged degree. And he's really gross. He's wearing like boxer shorts with piss stains on them and a dirty old wife beater, and eating like cat food out of a can, or just like really disgusting. And I was fascinated and repelled by him as a child, and still, frankly, but as a child especially, because you didn't see queer people on screen very much. And I got the sense that I was like him in some way, but also was afraid of becoming like him, obviously, because he's such a disgusting lifestyle. It just was like fascinating to me, and it's still a great performance.
It's a great performance. It absolutely, because the actor's name is Alfonso de Noble, so his character's name being Mr. Alfonso, it really feels like this is a guy that Alfred Sole knew and was just like, let's just.
Do you know how he found Alfonso? I looked it up.
I do not.
He wasn't an actor. Alfonso used to show up at funerals dressed as a priest, but wasn't a priest.
Fuck off.
And that's how he found him.
That is the best way to get cast in Alice Sweet Alice.
Yeah. It's like a John Waters actor in this movie. It's like somebody John Waters would have found.
He does, I mean, he does remind me of someone out of a John, like, even like the little world they give him of that apartment feels like something out of a John Waters movie. And it reminds me of like the mom in The Loved One, the way the loved one just kind of stops and is like, here's this mom who's obsessed with chickens and like can't get out of bed. And you're just like,
totally.
What are we doing?
It feels like the rare times that Divine was out of drag as an actor, it feels like that. It feels like very weird. Like it would feel more normal if this person were in drag. It feels like the male character that Divine plays in Female Trouble.
Oh,
it's like that.
The mechanic. Yes.
Yeah. Like Divine had no business playing men, sort of, even though he was a cis man, because he's so effeminate. I don't know. There's something just very weird about it. Alice is this, not to defend this person because this character is a pedophile, sort of. Alice is truly horrible to him. He's the landlord. She goes to bring him the check, and she's always calling him fatty for no reason, stuff like that. So they have a very contemptuous relationship from the first time you see them together. They like to torture each other, and he's torturing her by saying, like, I know what you did. I'm going to tell on you. That sort of thing. So in that way, it kind of reminds me of the gardener from The Bad Seed and his relationship with Rhonda. He's like sort of slow-witted, but he's like, I know what you did, and I'm going to tell on you.
I haven't seen The Bad Seed.
Oh, you would love it.
I know.
Great.
So here's part of the reason why I didn't see Alice Sweet Alice until now, and the reason I haven't seen The Bad Seed yet, is I typically don't like child-led horror films. I don't really care for The Omen. I think The Innocents isn't my bag. Like, it's like technically great. The cinematography is incredible, but it's just like creepy kids. All kids are creepy. We get it. No, thank you. I don't want to sit here. And so what I knew of Alice Sweet Alice was like little girl, raincoat, and then that like clear mask.
Yeah.
Which is such an iconic look and such like a cheap build.
Beautiful.
And I think I found my Halloween costume for this year. So I was a little hesitant that it was going to be that. Because I don't like that stuff. I don't think that's interesting. I don't think that's compelling. And as someone who was a child, was terrorized by other children, I don't want to see it. I'm fine. No, thank you. And that's not what Alice Sweet Alice is. Alice Sweet Alice is really sympathetic, and like from its characterization reminds me a lot more of, and this is a really, really weird poll, but Curse of the Cat People, the like 40s movie.
I haven't seen that one.
It's very much sympathetic to a like, I don't want to say neurotic, but like neurodivergent, like mentally unstable child, and that like how her home life and the like standard nuclear family like trappings, and in this movie, the nuclear family trappings and the like East Coast Catholicism trappings are doing nothing but hurting her.
Yeah.
And I strongly appreciated that. I really, 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 really love that.
Yeah. This is a very sophisticated movie. Yeah, I mean, there's some interesting production elements to this movie. Linda Miller, who plays Alice's mom, who's wonderful in this. She tried to take her own life at some point during production.
Jesus.
By slitting her wrists. And so there are scenes in the movie where she has bandages around her wrists. They had a lot of production holdups on this. So they used Alfred estimates 6 different directors of photography. One of those was William Lustig, who went on to write and direct the movie Maniac, which some of our listeners may be familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an interesting movie that way.
It's really a scrappy little like movie made. It feels very like made intentionally. It has that authoritative voice that we look for in a lot of the films that we discuss on the show that feels like it comes from point of view. But it also has that scrappy DIY indie filmmaking of the 1970s that it feels like it was made by a community. Like, it was made by a bunch of friends that were, like, committed to making this thing.
Yeah, it was. And it's a great example of regional filmmaking.
Yeah, you don't, like, hear about New Jersey filmmaking a lot.
Yeah, it's great in that regard.
I'm certain from that perspective, and especially with the character of Mr. Alfonso, that it was also a big influence on 2022's big New Jersey film, Funny Pages.
I haven't seen that.
You should see Funny Pages. You'd enjoy it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing like Alice, Sweet Alice, but it is definitely feels very inspired by it. I think so. Okay, the Catholicism of it all. We should get into, because this movie is both critiquing Catholicism, but also like there's almost not a shot of this movie that isn't somehow like haunted by the specter of Catholicism. There's like every scene has crucifixes or, you know, like cameos of the Virgin Mary or something like that. And it is both bookmarked by horror set pieces in the Catholic churches, both at the top and end of the film. And so there's a lot to criticize about the Catholic Church. Mr. Alfonso's character being a pedophile. Well, that character is not tied to the Catholic Church. That behavior and that lecherous acting towards these young women is absolutely tied into the Catholic Church in a way that is very direct, especially in East Coast America. And it feels almost deliberate to both include that and intentionally not have it be a part of the Catholic Church, because that was something that like was kind of like a hushed open secret for many years. And I mean, like, the Catholic Church fucking hates this movie.
I bet, yeah.
But it would have been a whole lot stronger had that been tied in, because the priest in this movie is kind of like beloved, do no wrong.
He's a good guy, and truly he is a good guy.
Yeah, Father Tom he's a kind soul. But what this movie gets at about Catholicism is something that I love, because it's about the interpretation of Catholicism. Which is a very, like, someone raised in the church kind of would be critiquing about it, because this movie, like, kind of loves Catholicism in a way.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it certainly recognizes the beauty of the rituals and trappings of Catholicism, which is one of the most appealing things about the movie. Like, I'm Southern, where there aren't Catholics, and then I grew up largely in the Pacific Northwest, where Catholics are kind of just like everyone else. I mean, the West Coast has various religions, but it's sort of culturally homogenous, unlike the East Coast, where you have very, very different, Italian Catholicism is very different than being a Ukrainian immigrant versus being a Caribbean immigrant. Like, those cultures are very different and distinct in a way that they aren't on the West Coast. So for me, even though I know all these things about Catholicism, there's an element of it that's very appealing, because it's so beautiful. It's so the rituals are really
It's very
specific.
arch.
Yeah, it's very arch. So this movie really has that going on for it.
I mean, I grew up in central Indiana, in a Protestant, if we don't care about religion, family. We went to Sunday school a few times until I ever decided we don't care. And I kind of started, I don't even know when, it's more than likely tied in with my vampirism fetishization and love of Dracula and shit like that. It's absolutely tied in.
They're very much tied.
They're very tied together, especially, I mean, that's like Eastern European folklore, so of course it would be. But by the time that I was in high school, my mother was living with a man that she was like sort of engaged to for a while. They never married. He was Catholic. He took his kids every Sunday to mass, and my mother converted to Catholicism for him. And I was like 16 and like such a fucking atheist, knew I was queer, and like very much like into nuns and shit like that, and was very much into like Bunwellian like takedowns of Catholicism while also like appreciating the aesthetic horror beauty of Catholicism, and being forced every fucking Sunday to go sit, kneel, rise in the pews. And I never took communion because I wasn't allowed to. But I had to go every single Sunday for a few years, but I didn't go until I was that age to be there and like roll my eyes at it.
It's too late.
But it was horrifying to be, from what I knew at the time, the only queer person in that church. And every summer, for weeks and weeks and weeks, they, after the end of Mass, when they would do their community discussions afterwards before they would let you go, they would always be like, now, coming up next weekend, all of the deviants and the sinners are going to be marching on the Circle Center Square in downtown Indianapolis, and we do not require, but we strongly, strongly influence that you and your families and your loved ones go out and you make a strong force against those deviants and those sinners and those freaks, and we show them the love, guidance, and support of Catholicism. We show them that it is not God's way. They were talking about pride.
My God.
It's fucking horrifying. Years later, one of my best friends, her family also went to that church. She was raised going to like Catholic schools sponsored by that church. And we lived together in Los Angeles years after that, and her mother called her up one day and was like, "Is Drew there?" And she was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Put it on speaker." After Mass, they had invited all of the parents into a separate like rectory. Rectum indeed.
Not rectum.
After Mass, and they were like, "Oh yeah, the nuns will sit with the kids, but we have a special guest who's coming to talk, and we want him to talk to all of the parents." And so the Monsignor of that parish, who is a pedophile, unfortunately, there is evidence. It's very gross and awful, and he's been moved from other parishes, and it is kind of well known that this man is a pedophile. His name is Monsignor Shadle. He's a fucking piece of shit. He had a man he was presenting he was a doctor to come in and speak to all of these parents about how transgender people are sick, are mentally ill, how this man knows from experience because he's worked with them, and how he knows that this transgender trad is just ruining their lives, and they all regret it in the end, and they're all going to go to hell if they even consider it. So if your kids even think about this, we need to get them away from that. We need to get them in the arms of God and away from that. This man was a plastic surgeon who had, as far as my research has concluded, almost no experience with trans surgeries and trans individuals. And, you know, kudos to my friend's mom. Near the end of this, she just stood up and was like, "This is fucking bullshit." And called them out and walked out and has not gone back to that church.
It makes so little sense, especially since you could become Episcopalian, which has all of the cool stuff of Catholicism, like the rituals and the pomp and circumstance, but is progressive. It's literally just liberal Catholicism. Like, just be Episcopalian. It's right there. Yeah.
Having said that, we're both atheists.
I'm actually not an atheist.
Wait a minute.
You know, people are shocked when they find that out, but I'm not. No, I believe in God, but I'm just a smart, normal person. Or not normal, but you know what I mean.
Well, pray for me, because I do not.
It's fine. I don't have any particular feeling about what other people think or
and that's the way to have religion.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a religious person. I just happen to believe in God. I don't know.
Yeah.
Listen, time to switch directions. Let's play our favorite game, Have They Seen It? The game where we speculate wildly whether or not notable figures have seen the film. I got one right out of the gate. Do you think Brooke Shields has ever seen this? She was 12 years old. It's her first movie. She's only in the first 10 minutes. I could believe that there's a world where she has not seen this movie, actually.
I feel like she hasn't seen this movie. I feel like...
me too.
It would have come out and her parents would have been like, you did that thing, you're too young to see it, and then by the time she would have been of age, she would have had no desire.
And it feels like it would be embarrassing because the marketing is all about her, and by the time she's famous, she's a young woman, and I feel like I would be annoyed by this sleazy, in my mind, if I'm her, sleazy horror movie that's using my image to promote itself. This thing that I barely remember doing when I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure she hates this movie and probably hasn't even seen it.
Probably. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So, this movie came out in 1976. He gives us a larger spectrum of people who were alive at the time. Mm-hmm. And there is a very, very, very famous filmmaker who fucking hated the Catholic Church just as much as this movie does. And who was probably a strong influence on this movie. Do you think that there's a possibility or a world in which Alfred Hitchcock would have seen Alice, Sweet Alice?
Oh, great question.
He was making Frenzy at the time. He didn't pass away until like 82, I think.
Okay.
His final film, The Family Plot, was 78, and Frenzy, which is probably his like most like gruesome, like closest to a slasher, was made in the same year as this.
Yeah. My gut says yes.
I mean, I would love to have seen Hitch's response to Alice, Sweet Alice.
I feel like he would like it, no?
I feel like he'd dig it. I feel like he would find it cute and very, like, I feel like he would really enjoy the twist. I feel like he would really enjoy, the mask. I feel like he would really, 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 really enjoy the, like, vilifying the Catholicism. Yeah, I feel like he'd dig it. I know he kind of knocked some of De Palma's 70s movies for ripping himself off, which De Palma didn't like, which is a shame.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I can't imagine anyone not being offended by that. But yeah, I feel like he'd dig Alice, Sweet Alice. I feel like it's not like actively like aping Hitchcock. I feel like it's just like narratively influenced by the kind of stories and scripts that he and Henri-Georges Clouzot were into. So I feel like he'd dig it. I don't think he was getting out to the theater a lot by 76, but I feel like if someone saw it and was very into it and connected to him, they probably would have procured a print for him or something.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like someone is ripping off Hitchcock either. It feels like someone has watched and loved a lot of Hitchcock and has naturally absorbed that as an influence, but isn't trying to directly rip it off. It's very organic. Mm-hmm. I have somebody, we've mentioned them on this episode already. This is somebody who grew up Catholic on the East Coast and was a filmmaker in the 70s. Do you think John Waters has seen Alice, Sweet Alice?
Oh, John Waters has absolutely fucking seen Alice, Sweet Alice. I'm almost certain I've heard him mention Alice, Sweet Alice before. I'm pretty sure. He drops a lot of great sleazy slasher movies of this era. He's a big fan. He's a very, very, very big fan of something like Christmas Evil, which, like, this and Christmas Evil feel like kissing cousins.
Yeah.
To a degree. He's definitely seen this movie. I would be shocked if he hasn't. in the sort of way that I'd be shocked if Quentin Tarantino hasn't seen this movie. Like,
Totally.
he's totally seen it. I feel like John Waters loves this movie.
Speaking of John Waters, how excited are we for a new John Waters
There's
movie?
a new John Waters movie! He's making Liar Mouth!
Yay!
Oh,
Can't
I'm
wait.
so excited.
I know,
Hey,
it's exciting.
John, or if anyone at the distributor is listening to this, let me do the poster. Let me do the poster.
Yes,
Let me do the
oh my
poster.
God.
Please, God.
I would be so excited I'd get a nosebleed if you got to work on that.
Yeah, so would I. So
Do you have anyone else?
Yeah, speaking of people who like Catholicism, people who are like, yay, woo, go God Catholicism, people who are like really gung-ho about like, no, like there's a way of doing like good Catholicism. Do you think Pope Francis has seen Alice Sweet Alice?
Which pope is that? Is that the current pope?
That is the current pope.
Okay. No, and I don't think he's even heard of it because it's too long ago and now it's too obscure for someone like a pope. I feel like my gut says no.
He's an older gentleman.
Is he? How? I don't know anything about the current pope.
He's like in his 60s.
Apparently. Okay, so maybe so he's in his 60s. So he would have been like a teenager in the 70s?
Yeah, he would have been like, there's the possibility that he was like in his 20s going to, I know there's a word for preschool, but I'm just going to say preschool because it's funnier that way. Going to preschool and he and all the other priests being like, hey, let's like cut out on the weekend. Very V style. And going and renting a video of Alice Sweet Alice and being shocked and woo, but good for Father Tom.
Well, what ethnicity is he, or country of origin? Is he Irish or British? Because then the chances go up because it was a video nasty.
Oh, that he has or hasn't?
That he has.
I don't believe he is. Pope Francis is from South America, I believe.
Oh, well, those are very Catholic countries too, though, some of them.
Yeah, he's from Argentina.
I'm going to say no. My guess is no.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how much like independent American late 70s slasher movies floated down to Argentina on VHS.
Yeah, I don't know.
In the early 80s. He was...
I will say...
Oh, he's 85. He was born in 1936.
Oh, yeah, I don't think... My gut says no.
You don't think
I
that
do know.
the library at the Vatican doesn't have a Blu-ray of Alice Sweet Alice? or a
I'm sure it does,
print of Holy
actually.
Terror?
I bet it does, honestly. I do know that sometimes movies like this, like when I worked on Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, in which Satanism is the inverse of Catholicism, basically, that show was more popular in very Catholic countries than it was in the United States. It was very popular in South America, very popular in Ireland, weirdly really popular in Russia. I don't know. So sometimes Catholics do have this sort of interest in material like this for obvious reasons.
Catholics love The Exorcist.
Yeah. I mean, it's scarier for them than it is for us, right? Because for them, it feels like it could happen. Yeah.
And
Anyway,
Alice Sweet Alice
love this movie.
condemns the church, but in a way that like I could see very faithful people still enjoying Alice Sweet Alice.
Totally. Yeah.
Because it's condemning aspects of the church without condemning the church entirely, we'll say.
I mean, I don't think it does condemn the church that much. I think it's just set in that culture and religion. And because it's a murder story, I feel like Catholics don't like that, obviously. But I don't think it has much to say about Catholicism, to be honest.
I think it has a bit to say on how how Catholicism preys on certain individuals. And how...
Yeah.
So that's all I'm going to say without going into the twist of the film. But I think that's also
you're
true.
right. I was forgetting that.
That's also true of how the film treats Alice. So,
yeah.
I don't know. That's my take. That's my 2 cents.
Well, we love Alice Sweet Alice. And I think that's it for this episode of Bloodhouse. If you like this episode, please rate it on all the things. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. You can follow us on all the socials. Drusilla, where can people find you these days?
You can find my art and all my stuff, my award-winning art, apparently, over at sisterhidedesign.com, and more stuff about the agency I work at grandsonla.com. And you can find me on Instagram at HideSister. What about you, Josh?
I'm at Joshua Conkle on Twitter. Where am I? Twitter, Instagram,
Twitch?
and Letterboxd.
Snapchat?
On Friendster.com. Do you know what? Really quick, I posted a review of Halloween Ends on Letterboxd, and people came at me because of the embargo. And I was the only review on Letterboxd of Halloween Ends, which I've deleted. But I didn't know. I never thought about that because I'm not a critic. I'm just a guy who saw it.
Then leave it
early.
up.
I mean, I already deleted it, but I was like, I didn't sign an embargo. I'm not a journalist.
Then you can say whatever whenever.
Well, too late. I deleted it. Anyways, I'm on Letterboxd. And
You're controversial Letterboxd.
My controversial Letterboxd.
Follow for early pre-embargo reviews.
Next week is a very special episode. It's our Halloween episode.
Our Halloween
What are we watching?
Spooktacular. We are bringing in a heavy hitter double feature, slamming two of the biggest monsters against each other. That's right. It's none other than Dracula and Frankenstein. But this is motherfucking Bloodhouse. We're doing it different. We're doing it art house. We're doing it a little bit more sleazy and a little bit more gay. It is Andy Warhol's and Paul Morrissey's Flesh for Frankenstein and Andy Warhol and Paul Morrissey's Blood for Dracula, both starring Udo Kier and Joe D'Alessandro.
Cannot wait.
I'm incredibly excited.